Robert Bloch dedicated The Shambler from TheStars to H.P. Lovecraft, and it was originally published in Weird Tales, September 1935. I am what I profess to be, a writer of weird fiction. Since earliest childhood, I've been enthralled by the cryptic fascination of the unknown and the unguessable, the nameless fears, the grotesque dreams, the queer, half-intuitive fancies that haunt our minds have always exercised for me a potent and inexplicable delight. In literature, I have walked the midnight paths with Poe, or crept amidst the shadows with Machen, combed the realms of horrific stars with Baudelaire, or steeped myself with earth's inner madness amidst tales of ancient lore. A meager talent for sketching and crayon work led me to attempt crude picturizations involving the outlandish denizens of my nighted thoughts. The same somber trend of intellect which drew me in my art interested me in obscure realms of musical composition. The symphonic strains of the planet's suite and the like were my favorites. My inner life soon became a ghoulish feast of eldritch, tantalizing horrors. My outer existence was comparatively dull. As time went on, I found myself drifting more and more into the life of a penurious recluse, a tranquil, philosophical existence amidst a world of books and dreams. A man must live. By nature, constitutionally and spiritually unfitted for manual labor. I was at first puzzled about the chaos, about the choice of a suitable vocation. The depression complicated matters to an almost intolerable degree, and for a time I was close to utter economic disaster. It was then that I decided to write. I procured a battered typewriter, a ream of cheap paper, and a few carbons. My subject matter did not bother me. What better field than the boundless realms of a colorful imagination? I could write of horror, fear, and the riddle that is death, at least. In the callousness of my unsophistication, this was my intention. Intentions are key, right? My first attempts soon convinced me how utterly I'd failed. Sadly, miserably, I fell short of my aspired goal. My vivid dreams became, on paper, mere meaningless jumbles of ponderous adjectives, and I found no ordinary words to express the wondrous terror of the unknown. My first manuscripts were miserable and futile documents, the few magazines using such material being unanimous in their rejections. I had to live, slowly but surely. I had begun to adjust my style to my ideas. Laboriously, I experimented with words, phrases, sentence structure. It was work, and hard work at that. I soon learned to sweat. At last, however, one of my stories met with favor. Then a second, a third, a fourth. Soon I had begun to master the more obvious tricks of the trade, and the future looked brighter at last. It was with an easier mind that I returned to my dream life and my beloved books. My stories afforded me a somewhat meager livelihood, and for a time this sufficed, but not for long. Ambition, ever an illusion, was the cause of my undoing. And who was it that talked, not quite like graven images, but like writing fiction is kind of like that, or at least